Good evening, everyone, and a warm welcome to the second academic and industry discussion session of ICEBTM 2025, organized by the School of Business and Entrepreneurship at Independence University, Bangladesh.
This session brings together distinguished academics and industry leaders from Homena Group to bridge the gap between theory and practice. Together, we'll explore how emerging trends in business and management are shaping today's fast-evolving global landscape. It's a wonderful opportunity to exchange insights, share experiences, and promote collaborations that can inspire innovation and sustainable growth.
Now, without further ado, please join me in welcoming our Honorary General Chair, Professor Dr. Raisul Awar Mahmood, and our General Chair, Professor Dr. Mahmoud Habib, to preside over this session. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. First of all, we are very sorry for the 50 minutes. And you understood already that last evening we had the one academic industry discussion, the part one. Today is the continuous the second one, academic industry discussion. So we like to request everyone. This event is live in the Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So whatever we mention is documented, it will be published officially. Some of the participants from the academics and corporates, you joined the last session. So at first I like to start those who did not attend the last session.
Is in the industry itself. We don't have too many R&D departments in most of our industries, and very few industries actually have an active research wing. So obviously, if research is not done parallelly in universities and in the industry, an interaction and crossover exchange of ideas is not going to take place. So yesterday discussion, several speakers spoke about how to bridge that gap, how to bring in more cohesion, more synergy between the university. And one thing that came out, especially for a country like Bangladesh, the role of government. Government has to play a big role, especially the direction of the country, where we are going, what is our plan. If we don't know which area we need to develop, then you are just from general perception from the market, you are trying to get your graduates trained and everything, manpower training, whether we need more automobile engineers, aircraft engineers, or semiconductor, which area we are going ahead. That will depend on the private sector investment as well as government policy, government's directives. And there are lots of policy support that is required from the government. That is also kind of have been missing. The vision of growth, the path we will take. So with that, we'll start the discussion today, and hopefully we'll hear some new ideas and new thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Before going to our corporates partner, ACI PLC, Dr. Arifuddollah, I'd like to invite our Pro Vice Chancellor to give a welcome remarks.
Okay, welcome everyone once again. I just very briefly just wanted to say that last night when we were at the table, it felt like two football teams, this one against that one. And this night, it actually feels like we're just one team. So then now that the challenge now is to figure out with one team, what's the goal and how do we work together to actually achieve something meaningful. And maybe that starts here and then carries on through conversations and activities afterwards. So all the best.
Thank you so much. We'd like to start by Mr. Dr. Arifuddollah, ACI. We have one specific question that internationally we are familiar that the industry-driven program. Internationally we are familiar the industry-sponsored the event, industry-sponsored the PhD program, professor chair. That professor chair will be sponsored by the industry. So why not you can think that Bangladesh, we have to get this kind of option. They can think that ACI School of Business Entrepreneurship, Independent University Bangladesh. Why not you can think that our Rohim Afroz School of Business Entrepreneurship Bangladesh. So I'd like to know our Dr. Arifuddollah, his opinion regarding this one.
Thank you. Thank you. I think we should all begin to think about this in this direction, because right now the companies in Bangladesh have reached a certain size and strength where they can start focusing on little bit long-term issues. One of the big challenges that companies face is that there is so many external challenges that everyone becomes very focused on near terms, survival and navigation around challenges. And this myopia always keeps us always very focused on making sure that the business runs appropriately. But many of the challenges now in businesses are moving in the direction of some research-related long-term, maybe not very long-term, but 6-month, 1-year programs where we need solutions to specific problems. Here I would say that industry-academia interaction can significantly improve. Also, I think from the side of the university, they should keep track of all these challenges that are coming up in terms of where the business landscape is shifting and how the businesses are investing. And from the business side, I think, not maybe basic, of course, fundamental research, but from the direction of adoption of technologies from a Bangladesh perspective. So it's not very difficult research, but it's a research where you tweak an existing solution, but make it more locally viable. And this kind of interaction definitely is possible. And regarding the chair, I think companies should begin to think about it. But you know, right now the landscape is so uneven that people hesitate a little bit to make these long-term decisions. But they should. It's my opinion.
Thank you so much. Now I'd like to come to our academics. We have a few vice chancellors today. So there is one issue has been raised from the Dr. Arifuddollah regarding the applied research. So definitely it is a very vital issue, how we can convert the basic research to applied research, industry-driven research. So I like to come to the our academics, our honorable Vice Chancellor from the Southeast University, Professor Dr. Yusuf Mahbul Islam. Sir, what do you think? Why don't you can start this kind of research in the industry-driven research, case study-based research in our academics? Thank you.
Thank you for the floor. Regarding research, what I first have to say that research starts with a need. Research starts with a gap. Research starts with a requirement. So the industry actually has to come up with the requirement. So what do I need? And for that, they need strategic planning in terms of manpower, in terms of research. What is it we need? If you look at companies that have lasted many years, like Singer, they have a 2-year plan just for introducing new staff into their company. They have a training program, induction program, but before that they have a plan that in 2 years' time, what is the kind of manpower we will need? In 2 years' time, what is the kind of gaps we have to fulfill? And it is that creates the need. The company first creates the need and then works with the industry to fulfill that need. So this is step one, that we need to work out what are the skills we need in 1 year time, in 6 months time, 1 year time, 2 years time, what product areas, longitudinal or horizontal expansion, what we need. If they can work that out, then they can transmit this need to the relevant academia institutions. So there's a saying in English that necessity is the mother of invention. But necessity will have to be created by the industry because they are the drivers, they are the market. If they do that, then they can work with the academia research in terms of productivity research, efficiency, cost reduction, quality, meeting quality standards, whatever they need. And from there, what innovations they need will come up. So industry is the driver. The academia is the supplier. So if there's no demand, then what shall we supply? So that is where we're at.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'd like to take another opinion from our another academics guest, Professor Dr. Shahjahan Khan, Vice Chancellor, Asian University of Bangladesh. Sir, we'd like to know your opinion. Already Yusuf sir added some things from the academic perspective. We'd like to know from you, then we'll go to our corporate people, please.
Thank you very much. I want to thank the organizers of this conference and the event. We're talking about a very important part which is in part of the research culture in the developed countries, and we are still trying to find a good start of that in Bangladesh. And I think session like this must contribute towards the objective that we are going to achieve, to create awareness, probably open negotiations or interactions between the partners, which can be helpful. To my view, it's a two-way traffic. I mean, industry, definitely if they have a problem, they will come. But if I have a solution for the industry, why not I go to them as well? And we have talent, we have expertise. We can create knowledge, we can create tools, equipments that are required for the industry. And if we can show them that something is working well, I'm sure they will put in money instead of just going to them that, why don't you give us some research work? The other thing is that government or political goodwill, if you want to say that way, to create a research culture by promoting collaborations between industry and higher education sector. Things like tax break for money investing in research by the industry. That could be an incentive for the industry to put in money to help our young scholars to conduct research. As well as if we have like inter-university or inter-industry collaboration, that can be also helpful. So I think there is always hope, and I believe we are gradually going there. I am very deeply concerned about not having any guardian or any umbrella organization for research in Bangladesh. We are doing research in isolation, in silos, disconnected, and there is no national forum to determine national priority research and connect the bits and pieces. Even NRBs who are doing great research, they can be very helpful in our industries back home. While they're working overseas, they can come for short-time visits. So if we can take some initiative from the government side, from the university side, from the industry side, I'm sure things will get better. There's nothing to be lost, but I can only see the thing to be improved if we are seriously working. And thank you again.
Thank you, sir. Now we'd like to come to our corporate. We are going to our Mr. Kobir Ahmed, involved with the BAFA, Bangladesh Freight Forwarding Association. As you know that you are in shipping industry, in this freight forwarding association, logistic industry for a long time. So from your experience and observation, how would you assess the readiness of recent graduates entering the job market in Bangladesh? So we'd like to know your observation.
Thank you. It's excellent initiative. First of all, I would like to thank you for academia industry dialogue, which will really bring us in a platform so academia and industry understand where and which part we are lacking. To your question, see, the freight forwarding industry, if I say this is one of the important segment of the supply chain management, there are a lot of technicalities. If we just talk about the Bangladesh context, what we have studied, and before we hardly have any of the institutions, they used to taught this subject, but recently it started. But when a student completes his graduation, basically what the challenges we are facing in the industry in terms of policy, with the government, in terms of operation, in terms of port management, in terms of shipping industry, in terms of logistics, in terms of navigational aspect. Basically, they do not have any clue and they don't have readiness in this kind of things. So I just want to put a suggestion in this context that if when a student have say 3 years or 4 years graduation, and government should take a policy or academic side that any student, they should have, instead of, in the completion of their graduation, they are going to have internship for 3 months, which is not actually enough. I would say this should be compulsory at least first or second year, at least 1 year to be affiliated with a company, then they can basically really they will have their readiness once they finish their graduation, and they will educate knowledge about how industry is operating, how the freight forwarding sector is operating, and globally how it is connecting throughout their policy, regulation, shipments, handling, and the port management, etc. That would be my suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you so much. For your information, we have a foreign delegates from the USA, Dr. Drake, Malaysia, Professor Rajarashia, from UK, Professor Jonathan, and from Malaysia, Professor Dr. Maniam. So we like to also listen their opinion. Last session they discussed already. So if you have like to add anything, just you can raise your hand or pass the information. I will give you floor to you. Okay. So now I like to come back to again our academics. Professor Dr. Sardar, you are in the USA for a long time, and so what's your observation as you are the Bangladeshi, that what kind of relationship we are practicing in Bangladesh academic industry, and when you are in the USA and you are the program director as well, so what kind of relation also you are observing in the US culture? So what's your opinion or suggestion to us?
So in the US, I've been living more than 25 years. what we found that our industry engagement is much stronger over there. When we develop a program, we have to justify what types of graduates those industries are looking for. So last 3 years, I have developed several engineering programs, and our industry people told us, we don't need some theoretical engineers. We need someone who can do the work on day one. They should be readily deployable. And we get the necessary support, like a gentleman mentioned that career readiness. It's like the responsibility for the university as well as the industry, right? So industry has a role to play. Now, I can tell you in the US, our unemployment rate is 2 to 3%. So they really are looking for graduates. It's not like the graduates are knocking the door. They are coming to us and say, hey, we need people here. That environment is different in Bangladesh, where I think our unemployment rate is higher. So, you know, the university have leverage over there that we talk to the industry that, hey, we can do that for you, but these are the relationship that we need to build, and we call it the synergistic relationship. What's the benefit for the industry in our endeavors, and what's the university can play? So when we develop that kind of program, is beneficial for both. Like I said, I think one of the attendees asked a question this morning that in the past, American companies, they used to train their employee 6 months, and then they get the employment, right? Permanent employment. That is not the case anymore. They expect that our graduates are going to come and start doing the work on day one. So I think things are different, expectations are different, but in the US, that's what we found, that they're more helpful when it comes to producing the right graduates. Another thing that accreditation plays a big role here. Most of our programs are accredited. So they enforce what kind of graduates that we're going to have. Like, our engineering programs, we require 3 internships, 3 semesters. That is coming from those industry expectation and accreditation expectation.
Thank you so much for your information. We have 2 more international guests here. Mr. Emeka from the Canada and Dr. Bain from the UK. So now I'd like to move to our academics again, to our Professor Mahabur Rahman, North South University. So what's your opinion that you already understand the one thing, we can understand the context different, US and Bangladesh. So from Bangladesh perspective, do you think that we can do this kind of practice for the academic-industry relationship?
Assalamu alaikum. Good evening. Thank you, Professor Habib. I am coming from social science background, so I may add, if I can, 2 cents here. I was present here yesterday. I listened to the discussion attentively. Let me tell you, I am not an expert in this field. I taught political science in the United States, and currently I am the chair of the Department of History and Philosophy at North South University. But in 2021, I wrote an article on mitigating educated youth unemployment in Bangladesh in the Journal of the Developing Areas, which drew attention, scholarly attention and citations. Since then, I started following. But when I was listening to the discussion last evening, one thing was clear, that despite some efforts here and there, a gap still exists between academia and industry in Bangladesh. If I summarize those, the discussion focused on the following. All agreed to improve curriculum relevance through stronger industry-academia partnerships, number 1. Number 2, increase investment in research and development. Number 3, prioritize student upskilling through hands-on training and mentorship. The above involves creating joint ventures, offering on-the-job training, funding research projects driven by industry needs, as you are talking, and reforming education policies to align with economic goals. When we talk about strengthening industry-academia collaboration, there is a misgiving. if not misperception, is that it is not intellectual poverty on the part of the universities, nor is it dictating the academia by the industries. No, not at all. It is for establishing formal, let me repeat, formal partnerships. Universities can sign MOU, which we already have. That doesn't help much. That doesn't. This is on paper. But practically, what we need to do is institutionalize industry participation in curriculum design. We have to revise university curriculum. Professor Tamim yesterday was telling that IUB and few other universities, every 3 or 4 years after that, we revise. But still, what we are doing, actually, it is confined to our academics. Say, you are developing a new curriculum, or even introducing a new course. What is required? UGC looks at whether you have an external member. That's all. But actually, the industry involvement has not been institutionalized. That is necessary for us. And also, when we say outcome-based education, it needs to be competency-based, actually, education. That has to be very relevant, practical. That's why we should create formal mechanisms involving representatives from key sectors like ICT, pharmaceuticals, RMG, agriculture to co-develop and periodic review our academic programs. We need to introduce government-funded partnership schemes. And actually, the UGC and BIDA should help us in this regard. And Professor Shahjahan rightly said that there has to be tax incentives by the government. That needs to be emphasized more. And just it will not come in a very haphazard way. There has to be some practical ways to facilitate this. And then we have to address social stigma about technical education. Actually, academia can help and industry can also facilitate. And few other things. Actually, since I come from social science background, we should not be only driven by the market demands. We need to have another dimension in mind that is called professional ethics. Side by side, unless we have professional ethics, and that needs to be inculcated, developed in an institutional manner. And as you know, compared to the public universities, in private universities we have GED, General Education Requirement is there. Actually, it may appear that, well, this subject, what it will add value. Yes, unless we create human beings, concerns for the humanity, no skill will be actually contributing to the development. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We got a few issues like that regarding the ethics. In fact, we are discussing this issue that nowadays we should think about this ethical thinking in our regular class curriculum system. So hopefully, Independent University of Bangladesh, we can take some initiative for these kind of things. How could we incorporate it? Now, I'd like to go to our corporate people, that Kabir Ahmed, Rajanul Kabir, Energy Pack. We have the same observation from you that how can you mitigate the gap between the academic industry, as you are the industry for a long time and you notice our graduates. So what kind of expectation you are thinking from the graduates, but unfortunately you are not getting, so you can give some suggestion that how can you overcome this kind of shortcoming. Thank you.
Thank you very much and good evening. I'm privileged to be here. I think, as Sir said, that there are a lot of responsibility from the industry side, but all of you are aware that industry is facing the most severe challenges of its kind since the independence of Bangladesh. So that itself could be a subject where we may need a cooperation. You know, we have unemployment problem. Private sector used to create 2 million jobs every year. But I think for last 2 years, severely affected. Rather, we are downsizing our capacity very much. At least I know from my industry, all of us are downsizing. So there's requirement for the graduates are relatively very low at this moment. If you look at the money market, which is behaving like anything, and all of our industries are absolutely dependent on our money market. We don't have a structured capital market here. If you look at the cost of doing business, which I think most of the industry people will admit that our cost of doing business, except from the cheap labor, in all segments are very high than our close competitors. So industry's power to absorb graduates or the kind of graduates you produce is very limited at this moment. And how can we overcome this situation? We experience some interaction in a way that previously we used to have a lot of graduates, especially through the industrial attachment in our factories. You see third year, fourth year students. In some cases, we even have 100 people in our factories in a month visited. I've been to many curriculum boards of many universities, including this and NSUs and others, once in 2 years' time, 3 years' time. These are the interactions we had, and I tried to have some bonding between industry and universities. But we have to admit, our industries are not that organized in terms of managing human capital. Because as I said, cost of doing business is so high and the markup is so limited, we really fail to focus on the long-term sustainability of the businesses and how to improve our human capital. So that's an inherent problem of the universities in Bangladesh. On the other side, you may know the universities' issues, you may know it better than us, but I think it could be more on the university side in a say that you are better in managing human capital than industries. And our another problem is that we don't have much to do in Bangladesh in a sense. If you even look at the real manufacturers, and if you go on the backward linkage industry, we manufacture in a sense very limited way. So we bring in products here and technology, fully developed technologies and products in a semi-finished way or semi-knockdown way. So the real need for the expertise is also limited. So these are the issues we could think in a bigger forum. I want to say many things, and that could be a good opportunity for us, but I think the time is limited. But I want to spark something to your mind so that this discussion can continue. And of course, while I'm talking about many darker side of today's situation, I strongly believe the cooperation will definitely bring something brighter in future. Thank you.
Thank you. In fact, today whatever our discussion we have, it has been incorporated in our findings from this academic industry discussion. And this relationship and this kind of findings will be used for the betterment of our academic industry collaboration. Now I'd like to go back to our another academics, Professor Nazrul Islam, our professor of the School of Business Entrepreneurship, SBE, Independent University of Bangladesh. Sir, what do you think that, as an academics, if you think that this kind of industry-driven research or industry-focused research or case study-based research, how can we enlighten our industry to come up forward so that we can do this kind of research and we can invite our students, they can join, particularly undergraduate level students, they can work as a RA or TA in this kind of research. And from there, they can get the publication for the international level. So it will be the case study based publication as well. So what's your opinion?
Thank you very much. In fact, yesterday and today we are discussing the gap between the academia and the corporate houses. And in our country, the unemployment rate is 40 to 50%. And in every year, 12 to 13 lakh jobs are created in Bangladesh, but the demands, job seekers are more than 20 lakh. So under these circumstances, we are talking here that we need to do the skill mapping, we need to identify the skill required or asked for by the corporate houses, and the graduates we are preparing and producing from the university are unable to meet the demand of the corporate houses. They may have the technical competency, but they do not have the behavioral competency. They are unable to adjust. And yesterday, one speaker mentioned here that at least they need 1 to 2 years to adjust with the organization. So under these circumstances, we, academia, must at this stage focus on the employability. That's what everybody is talking, employability of the graduate, of our graduates. Now, come to the corporate houses. Corporate houses, you know, in the we see the big and large corporations of this world, they have the research and development budgets, and it is 3 to 4% of their total revenue. And this research is conducted with the academia, with the help of the support of the academia and the researchers. But in Bangladesh, do we have this practice? Are we really, the corporate is thinking to attach the academia to spend this R&D budget and come up with the innovative projects? The point mentioned by the professor of North-South University, that was really the industry, in fact, industry involvement is not institutionalized here in Bangladesh. That's the problem. So now under this situation, I strongly believe that of course we shall have to have more collaborative projects with the corporate houses, and through this, in this collaborative projects, corporate houses can spend their part of their research and development budgets with this. So to do this, we need to, yesterday we also talked that there is a bureaucracy from the government part, and the professor mentioned here that there was a project and he was so embarrassed in different stages of the project. So we need to come together, these three actors, three parties. That means a kind of triangle initiatives, I think, we need from the academia, from the industry, and from the government side of the regulatory authorities, regulatory bodies. In addition, in our curricula, what we are teaching, in fact, we are talking about the employability. Say, for example, we have graduated, we have the graduates who are getting the job, who have the employability and they are quite capable to get the job. Then what about the other unemployed graduates? What they will do? So we need to incorporate the entrepreneurship segments and the courses in our curriculum, because the graduates who will not be accommodated in the jobs, so that they can go for initiating their own business and they can survive, they can develop their career. Thank you.
Thank you. We got a very good few issues here. How we can create that young entrepreneur, new entrepreneur. In fact, School of Business Entrepreneurship, we have the entrepreneurship course, but unfortunately for this we need some startup project and other thing. We will work on that, and maybe we can do something there. So now I'd like to go to our corporate again, Abdul Ghafoor from the Abdul Monem Electronic Zone Limited, the director. Yesterday we got our Mainuddin Monem. He also discussed about the Monem Group. So now, what's your observation? You are in the industry for a long time, and we know that we noticed that you are also involved with the different AmCham project and other things. So how could we think that our current graduates, they have capability and their skills is compatible with the industry or not?
Thank you, Mamun Bhai, for this wonderful opportunity. Honorable Chair, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and good evening. I have been a private sector professional for the last few decades, and let me share with you briefly my observations. I consider our today's world is a different world since COVID-19. And that has been followed by Ukraine war, conflict in Middle East, and also political chaos in Bangladesh continuing even today. My name is Egofu, Director of the Monem Economic Zone. If you look at the FDI data, a few data let me share with you. Last year, 2024, Bangladesh were able to attract only 1.5 billion US dollar, whereas a country like Cambodia, small country, they attracted $8 billion. Vietnam, $35 billion. Your, what is called China and Singapore, more than $100 billion. Malaysia, Indonesia, more than $20 billion. So where do you stand? I have observed 4 things we are suffering severely in our country. Increasing level of uncertainty, increased unpredictability, restlessness everywhere, and trustlessness. We don't trust each other. So that's why I think in today's program, the collaboration between industry and academia is more than ever today. What we have to do? We need to develop a skill. Since we are having 2 million graduates every year, where they can go? They cannot go outside the country, they cannot do anything inside the country because they don't have their skill. So what we need to do? In my view, we need 3 things. Right kind of education, honesty and integrity everywhere, and ability to use the latest technology so we stay competitive in the marketplace. You all know that last year, 2024, a new Prime Minister in Singapore took over the responsibility, Lawrence Wong. In his first speech, he committed to the nation that, my dear Singaporeans, quote unquote, you will see a new Singapore, new thing every day. And I have been following up that, and I can see that. And that is the spirit of a nation, national leader. So what is important, I'll conclude here. What is important is the visibility of transformation. Every day, every week, every month, it should be reviewed. It should be reported. Finally, I think we need to go for real industry and academia-based research and development. We would like to see rule of law in the country, then independence of the judiciary, and I would always like to say a friendlier bureaucracy so we can eliminate delay in the process. So these are my comments over this.
Thank you.
Bangladesh is a country of opportunities and possibilities, and time is running out. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Now I'd like to come to our academics, to distinguished professors. I'd like to start by the Professor Dr. Akhtar Hussain. You are in the academics for a long time, and you are the different position of the dean position for a long time. So what's your observation? Why not you can do that industry-driven research? And what would be your appeal to the industry that why not you can start this kind of initiative of the industry-driven research? Because you understand a lot of the corporate people will be there and the findings will be documented. So as an academicians and best of our graduates, students condition, then what kind of research we can appeal to the industry? So that what I said earlier, what did the other speaker also mentioned, supply and demand, we have to create some demand that we like to do, and then why not you can come forward? Please, we'd like to know your opinion, and then we'll come to our next one, Dean of the school, North-South University School of Business and Economics, Professor Dr. Warisul Karim. So I'd like to start by you. Thank you.
Respected Session Chair, respected very learned gathering, my dear Professor Mamun Habib. The discussion was truly speaking, Bangladesh is a place, it's a virgin land, and we are continuously striving for excellence. There are good examples, I must tell you. It's not that we are not doing industry-driven research. We are having it. But the extent that we are looking for, to be very honest, maybe not very satisfactory. I want to address some of the concerns shared by my very learned gathering here. We talked about industry and academia is in an institutionalized framework, Sir rightly pointed out. But to be very honest, in accreditation manual, we have an industry advisory panel. I act as a chair to many universities, as a accreditation body chair, and I observed, I'm sharing. Industry advisory panel, the whole understanding is bringing the industry expertise in the development of curricula. It is well documented. The rules are well defined. But if you take a look, the engagement of those industry people with the academia perhaps did not happen for various reasons. There are a lot of hustle bustle in the academia. There are a lot of hustle bustle in the industry. You may not have rightly engaged. You may not reach out to them. You know, sometimes I appreciate our Professor Shah Jahan, the Honorable Vice Chancellor rightly said that, I have something, why not I reach out? I appreciate it very much. In most cases, what happened is the teachers are not out of the box, to be very honest. We see every day our teachers are in the book. They don't understand this millennial generation. They don't understand what this new Gen Z typically look for in the classroom, to be very honest. The same thing happened when we look at the industry, they come forward. Like this afternoon, I had a meeting with the industry. It's a virtual VR development industry. They are working with the defense. They came to me and asked for students who can have mastering of virtual reality to support some of their projects. But it is me to ensure how to facilitate my teachers, how to engage my teachers. So there are a lot of constraints, to be very honest. It's not that it is a very optimistic country. This is a country full of talents. Our students are the brightest researchers in the world. They are not only serving Bangladesh, but they are serving Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. If you look at the top-notch engineers in Intel, it's from Bangladesh, to be very honest. This is a fertile land. I believe all of our colleagues here present, we love our country. We love our children, and these children's, I will come back to the last point that you mentioned, that why it is not happening in the industry. To be very honest, there are many examples when industry came forward for a research proposal. In the academia, there was a debate and there was a misconcept, and that led to failure, which industry people took as an example not to go forward. The second thing happened is, when academic people went for similar approach to bring an industry, the question of trust came in. My colleague rightly pointed out, the trust has become a serious issue. And last but not the least, I will talk about the ethical stance. I'm talking about a new idea, and my idea is taken over by my colleague or another industry to come to a market. So ethics and trust, these two is first and foremost. Thank you so much for giving me the floor.
Thank you so much. So now we'd like to go to our Professor Warisul Karim. Please, Professor.
Assalamu alaikum. Hello everyone. Good evening. I arrived here a bit late, apologies, but I've heard from many extremely knowledgeable industry representatives and my academic representatives. I can see a lot of faces from our friends from rest of the world. In brief, I think industry-academia difference is not just huge, it is getting almost to an insurmountable level. We have been working recently on some research proposals on how to bridge the gap, and we have found that, as one of my colleagues, sir, mentioned, that every year about 2.2 million job seekers enter the market. But how many decent jobs we have? Although it is claimed that the private sector used to create of about 2 million jobs, but are they decent jobs? We made a count and we found that to feed 2.2 million job seekers, there are less than, rhetorically, 22,000 decent jobs. BCS offers about 3,000 to 4,000, and if you exclude the doctors and professors, college teachers, then there are not many jobs that everyone can apply for. So even if PSC says that they're offering 4,000 jobs every year, but to my daughter, to my son, to my younger brothers and sisters, excluding, like if you graduate from chemistry, you cannot apply for a teaching job in English. So the, the jobs that everyone can apply, and if you're not a doctor, then you can't apply for medicine jobs, is about 1,000 to 1,500. Our largest commercial bank, or one of the largest profit-making banks, say Citibank, I asked them how many jobs they offer for the MTO positions. They said 35. 35 jobs every year, and of which more than half leave the country before completing their probationary period. So they are in a dilemma. If you go for the best, then you can't retain them. Now who do you blame? Even in spite of all the agreements, all the guarantees, you have to be kind to young people that allow them to take up opportunities overseas. So we have some contractual issues here. So I'm just giving one or two examples, and then our 61 commercial banks we have now, together they make about 5,000 crore taka, or profit, about 5,000 crore, of which Standard Chartered alone, and I hope there are representatives from Standard Chartered here, they alone make, Mr. Chairman, 3,350 crore, engaging only 6 branches. This is a travesty of justice. Only 6 branches. And those 6 branches, the number of people they employ cannot fill even this ballroom. So this kind of injustice for hundreds of years, and it is 147th year of Standard Chartered, and I myself, and I have a family member, my sister worked for Standard Chartered for 17 years. And when I say that to my students, to my colleagues, we know that the ones who can afford the best borrowers, low risk borrowers, if they want to buy a car, they go to Eastern Bank, they go to Citibank, they go to Standard Chartered, they go to HSBC, or used to go to. And my weakest banks, say Grameen Bank or Janata Bank, they are asked to shoulder the most of the nation's responsibilities. We need to ask that question, is it fair? You are getting the best customers, you're getting 98% recovery, and you're asking me to take care of SMEs, to take care of the poor, to take care of the widows, to take care of the orphans. So we live in a society, we made this, I call it a themeless country. It is not futureless. We don't know which way which direction we would like to go. And we wasted more than 5 decades in search of a direction. We went socialistic for a few years, we went mixed economy, now capital market, now for a while China. Then China and India are in a new rivalry. And if you make friends with China, then our friends across the Atlantic, they mind. They don't like us to be friends with China. They say you have to have 40% value addition unless you get lashed with punitive tariff. If we make friends with the US, then we don't receive Chinese assistance in building our roads, in building our bridges. So where do we go? Our best are, as Sir mentioned, that they are the best in the world. That's true. They are as good as anyone in the world. But our median, I have to admit, our median doesn't quite make the cut. And we have to work on getting a robust mid-quartile, 2 quartiles, so that our median student, our median graduates can meet the expectations of, say, Abdul Munim Limited or Standard Chartered or our best universities like IUB or North-South. It's not easy. So I think I have a couple of suggestions that we need to have an intimacy with industry. Our textbook board and at university level we do have some. I must admit we have some intimacy with the industry, but our schools, colleges who produce the most of the graduates, the National University, they produce nearly 900,000 graduates every year. They have 3.8 million students. So you divide it by 4, you get the number of students they get. And the National University Vice Chancellor in a recent meeting, he said that I'm proud to be the Vice Chancellor of the biggest university of the world, but I'm also chairing the biggest jobless creating factory because 600,000 of the 900,000 are going to be unemployed. So national university curriculum is behind by country miles. College curriculum is behind by country miles. We need to update our school curriculum, talk to our employers, talk to our teachers, update our schools. Recently, I'll finish in a second. Recently, Pratham Alo was publishing series reports on some of our best colleges, most renowned colleges like BM College, AM College, and all those. And in one stark example, they said that Ananda Mohan, I think, they have 42,000 students, for which there is more than just about 120 teachers and about 3 toilets. So this is the situation of one of the best colleges that our parents and grandparents used to be proud of. You go to Victoria College, you go to Dhaka College, you go to Notre Dame. I mean, Notre Dame is slightly better. So we need to invest, I think, hugely on this infrastructure. We can build the biggest women university in the world by combining Home Economics College, Eden College, and Badrunisa College. Why aren't we doing that? Who is stopping? We can build our infrastructure and we can employ hundreds of thousands of graduates into those schools, colleges, and we have, I think there will be no jobless if we start investing in our education and healthcare. So,
thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
You can go on, but thank you for the opportunity.
We have one corporate representative from Dhaka Bank, AKM Shahnaz, Managing Director of the Dhaka Bank. So we'll come to you. Before that, we'd like to go to our speakers, those participating in the yesterday session, last session. And you already understand that we'll take some question from the audiences. So they're waiting to ask the question. And it's a big panel, and I'm not sure that why I'm here in this level, the academia industry middle. So it's very difficult to incorporate both of them. So before going to the Q&A, and before going to our Dhaka Bank, we like to know from the international speakers, those you attended the yesterday session, already your information, your comments already documented. Do you want to add anything?
Yeah, I'd like to add a few comments. Can you hear me? Okay. I mean, I'm coming from outside perspective, right? And so a lot of the problems that you're describing, we experienced it in the U.S.
Can you just mention your name?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Derek Westfall, from professor at Oregon State University. Only been there 2 years, but I came from industry. 38 years of supply chain experience, last 15 years with Boeing. So I come at it from a kind of different perspective, right? I haven't done any research. I only been teaching for a few years. But what I see, and the problems that you're experiencing here are more magnified than they are in the U.S. We had similar problems, same problems, but this seems to be a bit wider gap. So I'm just going to add some perspective to maybe some solutions or ideas, okay? Understand that I don't know everything that you guys know. So, but I want to go back to one of the first things that Dr. Lund said was it felt like two teams getting ready to go at it, right? And I would say that at the end of the day, we both need each other. And then the government is also the third entity of that. We all need each other. The government, the academia and industry, right? We all need each other. But at the end of the day, we need to treat each other, especially academics and industry, as customers. And we've had this notion that industry is the customer. We're the customer, you're the college, we'll tell you what you need and you supply it. Okay, that's cool, and that's not a bad concept, but at the end of the day, the universities are also customers of industry. You got to tell me what we need, and then I have processes that I have to follow based on the government rules to provide what you need, right? So then it would be up to both industry and academia to go back to the government and say, you're creating too many rules, or there's these processes that you enforce that maybe they're not necessary, maybe they are necessary, but we need to reduce this lead time. Because yesterday, Dr. Tamin, you said that it takes you a year, if somebody proposes an idea, at least a year to do anything. Okay, in academia, that's fine, but in industry, that doesn't work. So what's the roadblock? What's holding us up? So if we had clear expectations, we sat down, we got over the grudge and said, you guys can't do your job, you guys don't give us enough resources, all these types of things, whatever. Come to an agreement, set clear expectations. As we're trying to reduce this process time from a year to 6 months or whatever we can do, provide full transparency. What are the expectations? Come to the meetings, see what we got, the roadblocks, and then if the roadblocks are governmental, now we get to go after the government and say, look, we need your help to remove these roadblocks. Because again, this is best interest that we all succeed. So then we, of course, come to agreed upon goals that provides the accountability for both sides. And then, so that's kind of where I see it. I don't know. I mean, that's what I see. The last thing I would say is, there's been some mention about soft skills. And I asked this question, is soft skills a business school problem to solve? And I'll just leave it at that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, Dr. Ben, right? Okay, Dr. Ben. But we have some time constraints. We like to request, make it the more brief.
I'm going to be brief. My name is Ben, visiting professor for Leeds Trinity University, but also from Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport. I want to probably accept that there is a general consensus here that collaboration between industry and the academic is essential in order to improve the quality of education or the quality of our programs. I think there are some things that are within our means. When I say our means, I'm talking about this setting here at the present moment that can result in some action steps, some key action steps for action. I want to join the comment that has been made by Dr. Rahman here, that formalizing the collaboration is essential, maybe immediately. I think this can be done without any need for government policy. I'm sure we can create some formal program or diary of this kind of collaboration. The other thing that I want to contribute on is the issue to do with the graduates that are likely to, to be left out because the industry cannot absorb them. I know one of the experiences that I had in the last 5 years in the UAE is that this university set up an incubation center for startups, where some of the students who are likely to fail to get employed or absorb the industry, they can be supported by the institution to start up companies. And I think the universities have got resources. They don't need any money to be able to arrange these incubation centers for startups for their students. It's also part of CSR or corporate social responsibility to ensure that these students do not then roam the streets. We give them probably just a desk in the Learning Resource Center there to be able to prepare their business plans. We've got the university lecturers there or professors to support them to write the business plans. Who knows? They can actually take these business plans to the banks and be able to obtain loans and start up their companies.
Thank you.
The last one, sorry, Chair. We talked about the case studies or the research. I'm sure we can then create a list from this sort of a dialogue. We can create a list of potential areas for research from the industry. And then as academics, we then develop these case studies for research. That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Professor Jonathan already raised the hand at first. So you can go to Professor Jonathan at first.
Okay, thank you very much, Chair, and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jonathan Liu. I reside in London, and I'm with the International Business School, which is based up in Manchester. I just wanted to share three things with you, okay, because I actually feel, and I agree with the panel, that there's a lot of collaboration happening and goodwill amongst industry and academia, but there is very little action, okay? I am in my previous life an action man. So here's my proposal to you. Number one, you've got lots of graduates who don't have jobs, then create a resource plan that takes them to go and teach in schools. It's not expensive, okay, to actually create that. I did some background calculations. It will cost around $5,000 for a 4-year program. So they would have jobs and they can develop their skills. Secondly, and I agree with Ben, having an entrepreneurship program, because you have not just graduates, okay, you have a bigger problem which is looming, which I'll share with you in a minute, so that you can then get them to actually go and create the industries and the jobs that you need. If you rely totally on the current industrial sector, it will take you another 50 years, okay? And the looming problem is what we call NEET. That is your 15 to 24-year-olds that are not in education or employment or training. That is 40% of your current population within that age group. So if you think this current 2000 is not, okay? But the final thing is, money makes the world go round. So where will you get the funding? Rather than to wait for the industry, I just Googled billionaires in Bangladesh. I got 10 names, 10 names, yeah? You know, and the top one will remain nameless. He's worth $17 billion, US dollars, okay? So my estimation is you need about roughly $500,000 to run what these three programs I've talked about. All you need is one, you know, billionaire. Well, I disagree, but I agree with you also. If I'm a billionaire, I'm not going to say I'm a billionaire. Okay. But anyway, that's my, you know, my contribution.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I just wanted to add from IUB that we have a program called IUB 360 for Innovation and Incubation Lab. We just started for entrepreneurship. Is a multidisciplinary teams will be nurtured, and from ideas to company forming, we are going to go ahead with that.
Can I take the next?
Yes, but you know, we are running, we don't want to keep you all night here because we have a closing session and then you have to have some food. So let's be just brief. Thank you. Sure.
Yeah, I just wanted to look at this problem differently. If you look at Taiwan and so on, read this book by Annalise Saxenian. Read this book by Annalise Saxenian, not her PhD, Regional Advantage, The New Argonaut. She actually speaks about Taiwanese, Koreans, Chinese, Indians, and so on, who not only studied in American universities, they worked in American firms, went back. Some of them are actually leading, today's leading company in semiconductors is no longer microprocessor. Taiwan Semiconductor Corporation actually does the entire work for Intel, only uses Intel name. That's all it does. I visited the firm, I worked with the director of ERSO and published several papers. You can look at that.
how Taiwan upgraded from 9. And there are lots of Bangladeshis. Let's not look at remittances from overseas contract workers. Philippines and Bangladesh is in the same boat in that sense. These countries haven't really developed very much. Look at Taiwan, how fast it's grown. And a lot of them came back. Even Maurice Chang was not born in Taiwan. He was born in Ningbo, studied at MIT, PhD from Stanford, rose to the level of senior vice president of Texas Instruments, in charge of R&D and buyer-supplier relationships. He went back, carried the tacit knowledge, and where he is not the only one. He was the chairman of the Hsinchu Science Park, successful in producing at least 100 world-class semiconductor firms.
Thank you so much. We'd like to go to our Dhaka Bank Managing Director, Mr. AKM Shahnaz. So we'd like to know from you as a Dhaka Bank how we can contribute the academia industry relationship, particularly that we like to focus industry-driven research. So Dhaka Bank, is there any kind of initiative, or is there any kind of R&D department, or maybe you have any plan? So how can you can incorporate academia industry relation for the research purpose? Thank you.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum and very good evening to you all. Before saying something, I'd like to show my respect to my respected sir, Abdul Rabbi sir. I'm very happy to see here. He was my teacher while I was in IBM. Thank you, sir. Time is very limited. Actually, I'm from Dhaka Bank, you know. One thing I like to say that banking business or operations is going to be changed radically. It is, we are now transforming from conventional to digital. So many things have been changed. We are going to be digitalized, and most of the banks are now ready for doing, making platform for digital banking. So society and the industrialist and all society has to come forward to take the facility digitally. And the challenges is we all people becoming obsolete now. So there are more technology, new technologies are coming. And that's why the students, the next generation has to be ready for these changes. And that's why I think the academicians will play a very important role in cope with the situation. We are ready, we from banks, we are ready to collaborate, academicians, to support their initiatives, their researches, and other issues to cope with the situation. I think we will be, I appreciate these initiatives organized by IOB, and we're hopeful to continue our support in future too. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And now I'd like to go back to our audiences. So we like to know your, a lot of question here, right? Okay. So they're interested to ask the question. Please, you have to introduce yourself and then you have to ask the question.
Yes, hello, assalamu alaikum. I am Khadija, a recent econ grad from Independent University, Bangladesh. And I am very happy to see Dr. Yusuf Mahbubul sir, who was my direct faculty here, and I enjoyed the whole session. So I did a mini research here, and there were talks of industry and academia collaboration, and my question is directed to the respected industrialists. One study detected that research articles sponsored exclusively by food and beverage companies were 4 to 8 times more likely to have conclusions that are favorable to the financial interests of the sponsoring company. So in case of such collaboration, I know the question is very controversial, but my question here is that how do academicians avoid this sort of bias when collaborating with the industry? Thank you so much.
Sponsor research issue. Who would like to reply this question?
Well, I think there is only one way, that is the disclaimer. you have to write at the end of the paper the disclaimer that I am not personally involved in this business or no. You know, that is standard practice of publication. That is standard.
Yeah, thank you so much. One more question, please. Okay, please proceed. Introduce yourself.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum, and good evening. I'm Tasfia Akhtar, again from the Economics Department of Independent University, Bangladesh. My question is for both academicians and the industrialists. Every year we have nearly 1 million graduates graduating in this country. However, we have seen a big part of the recent graduates, a big part of their dreams is to go for the Bangladesh Civil Service jobs. So these BCS exams, the undergrad students, they start preparing in their second and third year for the BCS exam. They have these certain guidebooks. So what I want to ask is how this guidebook, this not going beyond the box, and I have had the chance to go through this guidebook, the questions there, how are the students being prepared for the skills the industry needs when they're specifically involved or when their specific knowledge is based on the questions in the books, and how efficient are they becoming, and is it actually preparing them for the industry and the real world? Thank you.
Sir, Professor Abdul Rauf, Vice Chancellor, IUBIT.
You see, eventually, 90% of them end up in industry, okay? So whatever preparation they're making for this BCS, goes down the drain, except that adding some general knowledge. Unfortunately, no skills. So you should target where do you want to work. If you are for the industry, prepare yourself the way that you will be employed there. Well, that has been a craze, I know many of our students who actually target, and some of them don't go for the job even for years together and keep on preparing, eventually feeling frustrated and coming back. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, before... Question. Sir, we can take one question.
She raised actually a very important thing, so we may spend a little bit of time. I'm going to be very brief. This country has, for the young people, attraction for two things, BCS and politics. And both of them has taken us to the drain. So we must show them the alternative. There are better professions than these two professions. They are, bureaucrats essentially are servants, but researchers, entrepreneurs, they employ people to be their servants. So we need to turn around this culture. Otherwise, this nation is not going to develop. Thank you.
We are going to take the last question, please.
Thank you, sir.
Introduce yourself.
I'm Dr. Saiful Islam. I'm an assistant professor of maritime tourism and also the head of the department at Bangladesh Maritime University. So my question is to the academics here. So it's a good thing that we are talking to the industry, but sometimes as a young teacher, I think that whether we are going to be prescribed by the industry, because the primary objective of a university is to create knowledge, not to create human resource. But if we are always prescribed by industry that what type of products they are targeting for us to work on. So as a young teacher, I would like to ask the academics, how do we make balance? I acknowledge that our graduates need job, but how do we balance between these two, that university should be the lighthouse to the nation, and we don't want to be dictated or prescribed by industry all the time. Thank you, sir.
Well, I disagree with you when you say that it is not university's job to create workforce. It is indeed a major job for the university to create job force. University basically has three roles. One is transfer of known knowledge, which is your undergraduate studies, then creation of knowledge, which is the graduate studies, and service to the industry. These are the three principal
task of a university. So we do all these three tasks, try to do it simultaneously. Some universities have more emphasis on creating knowledge, which is research, more research. Some are transferring knowledge, which is the undergrad. And all of the universities try to serve the industry to some extent, society and industry to some extent. So university has a varied role. It's just not single, just not creating knowledge. That's one of the tasks of university.
So now we'd like to invite Professor Dr. Raisul Awal Mahmood sir to say the few remarks.
So good evening. I think everybody is tired and looking forward to something else. But listening to the yesterday and also today, I have some observations to make. I think we are not clearly do understand our society as a whole. The first of all, let me take something is that we are talking about different soft skills here. And someone has rightly pointed out, it is not the responsibility only of the education institution to create the soft skills. It comes from the family to some extent. It comes from the education institutions. It comes from the responsibility of the industry to train and orient that workers when they recruit. And also it comes from the society or the politics of the country. So no one's source can properly provide all the skill necessary for the industry. This is one thing. Secondly, we are talking about employment creations, and we are looking for, and that depends on the investment that we make in the sector here. Without investment, there will not be scope for the employment, and without employment, there will be no job creations for the graduates here. But when you talk about the resources, I don't know why we look forward to the FDIs only. Bangladesh has so far received about $20 billion over the last 15 or 20 years. $15 billion, 50. But no one has mentioned about the $24 billion we receive every year from the overseas remittances. Compare this whole amount and compare the yearly flow of resources. If half of these resources could be productively utilized, can you imagine how much employment we can create productively? But I'm sorry, no one here has mentioned this amount here. So one critical problem or the fundamental issue for us all here, academics and the industry and the government, is how to mobilize this huge resource coming into the country as remittances into the productive channels and to create jobs. And finally, last question I have, why to look for the jobs only? Why not we create entrepreneurs here with all of our means we have and let the people create jobs for the other people here. And that will be the catalyst for the future. With that, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. By this one, we are going to finish our today academia industry discussion. The last evening, we have the 22 participants from the academia and industry. Today in this discussion, we have the 24 participants from the academia industry discussion. We are taking note of your comments, of your observation, based on the local and international perspective, and it will come up in our write-up, and then we'll work on that. So that means this is just starting by the Independent University of Bangladesh. We'll continue this kind of collaborative works. Thank you so much. Now we are going to start our closing ceremony and award ceremony. We have the best paper award in this ceremony. So we believe there are a lot of students, a lot of participants, they're waiting for this kind of closing ceremony. So we like to request our all volunteers, organizing committee, please take the preparation for our closing ceremony. Thank you. Thank you so much.